Hey everybody, it's Dr. Kara back again, video 2 of our 4-video series. And today we're going to talk about answering the question of how do we communicate to, how do we send those communication signals, how do we communicate to animals. And before we get into that, I want to just do a quick recap of where we are, what we did, and where we're going. So this series is a 4-part series of how to talk to your pet. So 4 steps, 1 step each day. Yesterday, we set the foundation for it, and you guys learned how to do a grounding cord, which is hands down the best thing you can do for yourself and for your animals and for your intuition. So it turns off the fight or flight, and it quiets the mind so that you're more aware and more receptive to the signals that are all around you all the time anyways. So if you haven't watched that one, go back and watch that one. It's on my blog. And I really encourage you to do these in order. So if you're catching this in the middle, go back and do the first one first, because they do build on each other. So, and just a reminder, in case you forgot who I am, Dr. Kara Gubbins. I'm the host of the Animal Wisdom World Summit. I'm the founder of the Animal Wisdom Circle, which is a monthly membership program. It's a live program where we meet on the phone each month and connect with a different animal and get their wisdom. And then we have a coaching call later in the month to really apply that, to find the places in our lives that aren't really expressing that wisdom yet and clear any blocks that we may have. And then I've also been an animal communicator professionally for 8 years now. So I have talked to animals literally all over the world, living animals, animals who have passed, animals who are sick, animals who are scared, and like every kind of situation you can imagine. And that's why I created this class, How to Talk to Your Pet. This is my 4-step system for tuning into your intuition and up-leveling your intuition so that you can communicate with any animal that you want. And this series gives you a taste of what I am sharing in my classes so that you can try the steps out on your own. And for some of you, that's going to be plenty. It's going to be just the piece that you needed to have something fall into place and to have it all work out for you. For some of you, you might want to go deeper. If you do, there will be an opportunity to work with me, and I'll share more about that in the 4th class. And for now, though, really, this is your chance this weekend to really focus on yourself, your animals, and these tools, and put those 3 pieces together and see the magic that comes. My goal is really that each one of you experiences the joy, the celebration, the wonder, the magic of sending and receiving communication with an animal. There is nothing like it in the whole world. And to me, it's the coolest thing ever. So I want to at least get you started on that pathway wherever you are. If you've never tried it before, or if you tried some stuff and it wasn't quite working for you, maybe what I share here will help make things be more understandable or maybe work better for you. So that's where we are. That's what we've done. That's who I am. I'm also the author of all these books, and each one is designed to help people connect more deeply with animals, nature, and spirit, and their true selves, and live their lives to the fullest extent possible. So this series of videos answers the question, is there a simple, clear formula that I can use to talk to animals? And the answer is yes. That's what we're doing here. So if you've been searching, like I did for years and years and years, like most of my life, for a way to do this, then this is that, yes, it's that answer for you. So play with that grounding cord that you learned in video number 1. And today, here's what I want you to add to it. We're going to answer the question, how do I use intuition to talk to my pet? So the next step is for you to start getting really clear. This is a great place to start because this is the part we have the most control over. Getting really clear about what you're sending out, what you're putting out when you are connecting with your pets. And it's, this is always in my classes, this is always a little bit surprising for people that a lot of this is below our conscious level of awareness. And so I really want to bring it up into conscious level of awareness so that you can be more intentional and more effective with how you're talking to your pets or whatever animals you're talking to. So today we're going to go a little deeper. Yesterday, or in the previous video, I taught you one out of the many steps, one out of the many tools in step 1. And today I want to go really deep. I want to teach you everything in step 2. This is everything I teach in my classes. Obviously, it's going to be the overview because we have a limited amount of time, but this is all of the whole enchilada. So here are the 7 tools that I think we should be using in order. And of course, start with your grounding cord first. Number 1 is whenever you're communicating, make sure you're calm. It's super important that as leaders, as communicators, we are aware and calm and aware of everything that we're sending. So there's so much body language, there's so many thoughts, we're sending pictures all the time. And then there's the words, then also there's the tone of voice. So the first thing is to really be calm. And if you've set your grounding cord before you communicate, then you're almost automatically guaranteed to be calm. But if you need a little bit more, you can also just take a couple of breaths. And when I was a college teacher, I used to teach my students the rule of 5. And this plus a grounding cord is super powerful. So the rule of 5, and I would have my students do this before tests, the rule of 5 is to inhale to a count of 5, exhale to a count of 5, and do that 5 times. So inhaling and exhaling. And do that 5 times already with just one breath. I noticed my whole body relaxed a little bit. So 5 breaths, it's going to take your nervous system and just relax it even more. My Poe just came in. Number 2, tool number 2 for step 2 is KISS. Keep it super simple. So oftentimes we're communicating things like, let's go over there and around that corner and under that tree. Well, that's a lot of things. So let's break it down and just start getting into the habit of breaking it down to the simplest step, the simplest next step. So one thing. So let's go to the right, or let's go left, or let's keep going straight, or sit down, or don't, whatever it is, just one thing at a time. So one communication, one thought, one action, one request, break it down to one. So that's tool number 2. Tool number 3, can't even see my little fingers there. Tool number 3 is to frame it in the positive. So make sure that you're always giving a positive communication. So rather than saying, don't jump up on the couch, say, keep your feet on the ground. So this is something that is really, really effective for any communication with humans, with animals, intuitive, spoken, whatever. This could be a game changer right here. If you just start changing the way that you speak in the world, you're going to start seeing really different results. And this is one that I notice a lot with parenting. When my kids were little, I said, always leave your bike on the lawn. Right? I didn't say don't leave your bike in the driveway, leave your bike on the lawn, put it on the grass, a positive command. It's really easy for them to get, oh, okay, that's where it goes. And the neighborhood children don't do that, and so their bikes are the ones that are in my driveway. And so with them, I would also say, hey, over here, we put our bikes on the lawn. So can you see how that's so much simpler, so much clearer, so much easier to communicate? Do this, keep it positive. So you're always focusing on the positive. So we're going kind of fast, huh? Let me slow it down for a minute. So calm, kiss, and positive. So be calm and clear. Keep it simple, one thing at a time, and make sure that that one thing is positive. Okay? So just those three things right there are going to make a huge difference, but we're going to go even deeper than that. So the next thing is to visualize. So I want you to create an image in your mind of what you want to happen, of what you're trying to communicate. So if my dog Aiko, for a while there, she didn't want to eat unless we were right next to her. And it was just like really, really challenging. So I would send her a picture to go to her food bowl to eat. So I would picture her happily eating alone at the food bowl. There's nobody else in the picture. And I would just focus on that picture as I said, okay, here's your food, right? Because she wanted to eat, she pretty much wanted to eat at the table with us, but logistically didn't work. So just think about, what would that look like? What do I want? And what would it look like? And what's the positive? What do I want to be projecting out into the world? The next step with that is, once you have that picture, you can add emotion and feeling to it. So that's going to really connect on a emotional level with the animal. So the easiest way to do that is to show them how good it's going to feel to get whatever it is that you want them to do. And I'll just say right here, like, this is not about making animals do anything. It's about communicating clearly your wants, needs, desires, thoughts, invitations. Okay, so this is not about mind control. It's not about anything like that. It's really about, how do we clean up our communication so it's clear, so it's specific, so it's understandable, so they're not getting all this gobbledygook and then they don't know what to respond to. So having that picture in your mind and then adding the feelings of how that will feel. Like for Aiko with her food, I would add the feeling of like satisfaction and feeling good and feeling fulfilled and all those good, like warm, comforty kinds of feelings, that she felt good and safe and strong eating alone at her food dish. And these steps, kind of, if you do them in order, they kind of escalate. And so you may not need all of them. It may be enough that you just simplify things and you see a big change there in your pet's behavior just from doing that. But it may be that you need more. So once you've got a picture and you've added the emotions, then the next tool to add is to add consequences. And my dog Dazzle is a perfect example of, she's an Australian Shepherd, so she thinks she knows everything. And she thinks that whatever I say is a suggestion, something for her to take under consideration. And when she was younger, she would be out we live on a cul-de-sac, and she would be out there, and I'd call her in and she wouldn't be ready to come in. And so I would then send her a picture of her coming in and us feeling good and being together in the house, and we're all happy and all that. And, that worked for a while. And then I had to up the ante because she got kind of used to that. So then I started having consequences. So the consequences can be positive or negative. It just kind of depends on what your situation is. For Dazzle, and for the purposes of like just getting your feet wet with this, go with the positive. So if she comes in, the consequence is she gets a treat, right? That would be the first consequence that I would communicate to her, that I would start with. So positive consequence. If she does what I want, there's something in it for her. You could also do a negative, like if you stay out there. For Dazzle, I used to send her the picture of, I'm going to pick you up and carry you in, which she hated. So that was a good negative consequence for her. So I'd send her the picture of coming in and we'd be happy. And if she didn't respond to that, I would then send her a picture of her being out in the street and me scooping her up and carrying her in. So it's kind of like a little movie. And that then became enough for her to go, well, okay, those are my choices, so I'm going to go with coming inside. but it's coming from a place of respect. It's like, I'm the leader. I'm saying, hey, it's time to come inside. You can do it this way, or you can do it that way. It's totally up to you, but either way, you're coming inside because I'm the boss. So you've got your picture, you've got your emotions, you've got your consequences. And sometimes it's nice to kind of reiterate and show like what you want and what will happen if you don't comply, and then what you want to have happen again. And that's what I call the sandwich. So, so you can send a picture of what you want, then a picture of what will happen and the emotions that go with if what you don't want happens. And then again, go do that first picture with those emotions again of what you want to have happen and how it's such a great solution for everybody and everybody feels good. And I'll share an example of the sandwich with you. I was at a ranch up out of on the north end of my town, and I was talking to my friend and I was talking to the ranch owner, and we were talking about some of the horses who were having problems. And there were 3 dogs in a fenced-in yard nearby who were just so jealous and so wanted to be in on the action. And they were just barking and barking and barking. And we found ourselves like raising our voices to be heard over the barking. And then I thought, well, this is kind of silly. So let's see what we can do. So I sent the dogs a picture of them standing at the fence with their mouths closed and me petting them because they wanted the attention, right? That's the reward. So I sent them that picture, and I was kind of saying, like, if you quiet down, I'll come over and I'll give you attention. And then I sent them the next picture, which was the negative consequences, was if they keep barking, I'm going to turn my back on you and we're all going to ignore you. So I sent them that picture, and it kind of, the way I pictured it in my head was kind of an overview of that yard with the barn over here and the house and the fence and the backyard over here with the dogs and the people in the middle. And we were all focused away and we weren't paying any attention to them. And then I went back to that first picture again. And I sent that first picture of them standing at the fence, mouths closed, and me petting everybody and us having a great time and how happy we would be together. So the funniest thing happened. So there were 3 dogs barking. And as soon as I sent my first picture, one of them stopped immediately, totally stopped barking. I sent the second picture and the second dog stopped barking. And then I sent the third picture and the third dog was like, bark, 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 bark. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's just like, oh, I don't want to quit barking, but I want to, I want to go along with the program, and I want to have the attention from you. So it totally worked. All 3 of the dogs within, like 15 seconds of sending those 3 pictures, all 3 of them stopped barking. And so I said, hey guys, I gotta go hang out with these dogs because they just did what I asked them to do. So this is, again, like I know I'm preaching to the choir here because you guys are so loving and honoring and respecting of animals, but this is a way to give them their choice and their autonomy and their freedom, and consequences are fine. It's like you can say, hey, if you come inside, I'll give you a treat. And if you stay outside, I'm going to have to pick you up and carry you inside. Like, that's just the way it is right now. So taking each of these 7 tools and trying them out in order, I think is going to be super, super effective for you with your animals. And it's just a different way to kind of shine a light on our communication, because we often don't think about what we're sending out into the world, and we're not often very intentional with how we speak. We just kind of, want what we want, or there's things going on, or we're reacting to what is. So this step is really about slowing yourself down, raising your own awareness of how you're being and the signals that you're sending out, whether consciously or unconsciously, to your animal. And a lot of times what I've seen with my students is when they get this, they're like, oh, well, of course, when I told my cat to get off the couch, it didn't, because I was actually saying like 5 things at once and it was kind of frozen. Like, I don't know what to do here because there's too much. It's overload, right? So you want to really simplify and make it really easy for you to communicate and for your communication to be received by your animal. So that is step 2 in a nutshell. It's a lot of steps, but it's a really, really effective way to start shifting around the conversation that you're having with your pets and really taking charge of how you're communicating and really being proactive and being as effective as you possibly can. And I know a lot of you are already doing a lot of these things, but maybe you didn't put them together in this order or in this way, or you only do it sometimes or whatever. So, your challenge for today is to do all of these, do them in order, and see what happens. See what happens with your pets. So that kind of brings me to the second question that I promised to answer for you guys today, which is, how do I know if my pet got my message? And my response to this is, they always get it. Whether they're responding to it or not is the question. So, but when you're starting out, it's really nice to have that positive feedback, that confirmation that what you're doing is working. And my position as a teacher is, it's always working. They just may not respond in the way that you are expecting, because this stuff just works. We're doing it all the time, no matter what. So, so here's what I recommend, so that when you're starting out, you can get that positive feedback and know that you're doing it right. Number 1, figure out what's in it for me, right? So from your pet's perspective, what's in it for your pet? With Aiko, I would give her a treat if she went inside. With Dazzle, it was the same thing. With those 3 dogs, it was that I would give them the attention that they were craving. So really think about what's in it for me, and start with something that they want. Start your communication. Make it obvious. Make it intentional. Make it on purpose. Choose something that they're going to actually want to do. And then choose the timing that makes sense. So one of my students, the last time I taught how to talk to your pet class, she was working with her cat, and she would try to talk to her cat using these techniques right after the cat had eaten. And really the cat just couldn't care less, because it was just full and tired and wanted to rest and didn't want to do anything. So she didn't know if she was doing it right or wrong, if the cat was getting the message or not. And so that's why the timing is so important. If you have anybody who is food motivated, it's really nice before dinner time to do something where you say, hey, do this and you'll get a treat. And they're more likely to be engaged, to care about what you're saying. And when you're starting out, you want to do it in a way that you can see the results. And so oftentimes it's, a toy or attention or food or something that they want. So bring that in to your communication. When you use these tools, bring that in. What's in it for me? And then what's the best timing? Maybe it's first thing in the morning. Maybe it's right when you get home. I don't know. But try to find the timing when they're going to be most receptive to whatever you're going to be communicating to them, and then watch their behavior. Really, the only way we can know for sure that they got the message is if we see a change in their behavior based on what we communicated. And if we're making it too complicated, they're just not going to do anything, because the confused mind just stops, it just freezes us up. So you want to make it super, super simple. So KISS, keep it super simple. So find a time that they're going to be receptive. Figure out what's in it for me, why they should care about what you're saying, and then watch to see if they do something differently than they have in the past, or than they would if you hadn't said anything, or whatever. So that's your lesson for today. That is all of step 2 in a nutshell. We go deeper in the class, but that really is everything, and that should get you moving. That should keep you pretty busy for the rest of the day until I get you video number 3 coming up. So keep practicing with that. And, you know, here's the thing with learning new stuff that I find for myself is I try stuff, and if it doesn't work, I'll try something else, but there's always that little nagging doubt in my head, like that little voice going, oh, well, that last thing didn't work, so this one probably won't work either, or remember how badly you failed at that last thing, or whatever. So if you are having doubt, I want to share another student's experience with you. This is Monica. And after she learned these tools, she said, it's like magic. I've been applying what I've learned with my new dog, Murphy, and I've never had such great results. And she had a lot of exclamation points in there. So, you know, sometimes we have to keep going until we get the piece, the system, the whatever, the information that works for us. And that's what I want to encourage you with this weekend. Just try it. Just give it a shot. See how it goes. Now that you know what you were doing unconsciously before, and now you can make it consciously, you might see really big changes just from doing this. And then you know what's possible. Then you know that you're on the right track. And I get that we want that feedback early in the process. It's so encouraging to keep going. But, you know, just stay open for this little challenge, this 4-video challenge, and see how it goes, and keep an open mind. There's just a lot of variables, and what we want to do is really minimize the number of variables that are at play in our communication, so that we can, kind of like a science experiment, you know, you focus on one piece of it, you keep everything else the same. Well, what we're trying to do is simplify and just change the one thing in our communication today. So keep it simple, stay calm, use pictures, the feelings, the consequences, try the sandwich if you get to that point, and let me know how it goes. You know, I really want to hear about how this is doing. Apparently I'm having website issues, so on the page for for video number 1, the comments weren't working. I'm going to try, hopefully we have the comments working on this page, but if not, you can always come on over to our Animal Wisdom Circle Facebook group and post in there, and we're having great discussion in there too, so that's always available. Video number 3 is coming up, and video number 3 is where we answer that question that everybody has, is how do animals communicate? Do they use pictures? Do they use words? What is the best way for me to communicate with them, or what's the best way for me to receive what they are sending me? And how do I quiet that voice in my head so that I can hear what they're sending? So how do animals communicate? How do I receive their message? That's what we're covering in video number 3. I think you're going to be super surprised at the answer, and I'm trying not to give it away because, because I want you to come and find out. But I think you're going to be really surprised at how animals communicate and what channels they use. So check back in, video number 3 coming out tomorrow. And if the comments work here, great. My recommendation is try a little comment first. Don't get too invested in writing a big long comment because I'm not sure what's going on with my website. But you know, let me know, who are you practicing these steps with? How is it going? How is it working? Who are you doing this with? So that's it for today. I hope this really springboards you into a new way of looking at yourself, at your animals, and at the way that you communicate. And my fingers are crossed. That one didn't cross very well. My fingers are crossed. I hope it goes really well, and I would love to hear about it. And I look super forward to seeing you in video 3 and video 4. But for now, have a great job sending clear signals. All right, bye everybody.